Hi everyone, I'm back with part 2 of our 25 ways to emboss your Cricut Cuts series. And I just want to say thank you so much for your warm response on the part 1 yesterday. You were so nice, all the things you left, all the comments you left, and you were really patient to wait for me to upload it. I'm still new at learning about file sizes on videos and things like that, so thank you for your patience. Okay, so yesterday, the first 11 cards that we did were primarily about working with flat paper and pattern paper and doing techniques on those flat surfaces to change them up. Things like stamping or shading with markers and paints and things like that. Today we're diving into texture. Today we are going to do embossing, we're going to do heat embossing, and we're also going to talk about adding embellishments. The great thing about Cricut Cuts are the designs are awesome. So you can use the designs as inspiration as to where to put your embellishments. For example, anytime I have a circle on a cut, I think I mentioned this in the other video too, like an eyeball or a wheel or, anytime there's a circle, I particularly love buttons and brads, and so when I see a circle, I want to add one on that circle. So, and gems and rhinestones and things like that. So I'll show you a bunch of examples for those. We're also going to talk about adding texture with, I think we mentioned embossing and glitter and things like that. So I'm excited. They're coming together really good. I think they'd be really fun for card makers too. If you don't want to make a technique deck, you can just make them for fun, just to kind of play around with your supplies. But it's been great to hang out with you this weekend, and hopefully we'll do another video again soon. I'll start brainstorming for my next idea. Thanks so much for watching, and let's dive in. The next thing you can do to dress up your plain cuts is just emboss them with your Cuttlebug machine. Okay, the next technique that we are going to experiment with on our Cricut Cuts is using glitter. And Michelle Kovac is like the expert of glitter, and she's actually preparing a post for a future circle blog post that will show you exactly how she does her glitter, but today I'm going to use a few of her tips that she has given on the blog in the past to just apply some glitter to these sun cuts. So we're actually going to do two. We're going to do the same cut twice. We're going to do one with colored glitter and then one with the famous coarse glitter by Martha Stewart that Michelle Kovac uses all the time. So you can So I thought we would do some Cricut Cuts with a little bit of stamping, and we're going to play with this glue pad right here. This is a heat activated glue pad, and you can put things on it like embossing powders, glitters, chalks, metallic pigments. That's what it says on the front. But we're actually going to stamp and do some glitter patterns with this glue pad. I chose this popsicle image. I thought it'd be fun to add some polka dots too. And we're going to use it on two different bases. We're going to do a pattern paper base and a solid base so we can see it both ways. Also, this image actually comes with a base cut of a popsicle stick that you could cut out in a craft paper or a brown, and well, that's very cute. You probably know by now that I like to add dimensional accents to my Cricut Cuts to embellish them anytime I can. So I actually have these miniature popsicle sticks in my stash. I got glue all over my finger, just ignore that. So I got, that I bought several years ago. Here's the package. And you can buy these. They come in this big bag. I think it was a couple bucks, but I've actually ended up using these a lot. They're very fun to use on summer pages. So I'm going to use that with the popsicles today. But just a couple other quick ideas. A lot of times on my summer pages, you know, you'll add a little label sticker with the month and the date of the event. And so sometimes on my summer pages I'll use these instead and just write right there on the popsicle stick. It's also fun to kind of stack them and write your journaling on them on your page. So there's just a couple quick ideas for you if you feel like picking up a bag of miniature popsicle sticks. On this next tag, we're going to show you how inking can really set your image apart. We're also going to be adding a flower to this cut. So I don't know if that's in the paper or if I got ink on there, but we're going to be covering it up anyway, so it won't matter. So anyway, if you've ever seen this soft brown edge, or it can be in another color around something, that is from an ink pad. And what I like to use are these little cat's eye chalk ink pads. And I just scrape the edges like this.
to get the ink. I'm not super careful about it. You know, if you want more of a distressed look, you would angle your ink pad like that so it gets more of ink on the front, or you can angle it backwards to just get a really soft edge. So same thing with your cuts. Just kind of walk around the edge, just kind of scrape it. When you have a tight spot like these leaves, I like the little point of these pads to get in there, and I just kind of rock it back and forth to get in there as best as I can, and I don't worry about it too much if I don't get into all the little spots. Something you can do if you're worried about that is I've traced in there with a brown marker, but you can also take these little coloring tools by Fantastiques and ink them up and get in those little nooks and crannies. Perfect example right here is this little star of the pear on the For this next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a mosaic of cut pieces. And this is something I actually learned on the blog of Christine Middlecamp. This one I used an Easter egg shaped punch, but I'm going to do what Christine did on her blog, on the one I'm going to show you, and that is to cut little tiny squares to make her mosaic. So we're going to apply this technique to this owl. On her blog, she did it for her doily project, but I thought, how cute would it be to do things on, you know, that technique on an owl, like the feathers, or a bird, or even a roof on a house cut. So for this next technique, I thought that we would work with some dimensional paints and products with this cute gingerbread cut image. So I have two actually, because I wanted to try two different things. There's a couple of products I wanted to use, and the first one was this dimensional paint. And this is just like a dimensional t-shirt paint, but I use it on paper. You could also use like a Stickles or something like that if you wanted to glitter shine, but I'm going to use this winter white one. And I'm just thinking, you know, the cut actually has a bunch of little white scribbles that go along the edges of his arms, and they would go something like that. But instead of doing the paper, I thought it'd be fun to add some dimensions. So we're going to just paint on our frosting. The other one I wanted to try was this snow marker pen by Marvy Uchida. And I've seen this used on other projects by other people, but I have never actually used it myself. I picked it up a while ago and just have never got around to it. So it says to paint on, and then to allow the the ink to dry or the paint to dry before you heat emboss it. Okay, so our gingerbread men have had a chance to dry, and I just want to show you how that one looks. You can kind of see the dimension from the white dimensional paint that we did earlier. And now we're going to heat emboss this one with the snow paint, the snow pen, and see how it looks once we heat emboss it. So we'll go ahead and do that now. I'm just going to use my paper piercer to hold it from going all around the place, and we will heat it. My gosh, that's so cute. Okay, so let me give you a close-up. You can kind of see where it's thick right there. It kind of has a foamy appearance, but there's a little side view. Hopefully you can see it okay. Okay, our next technique tag is another embellishment idea using, it's kind of a fun one to do, these micro beads. I'm using ones by Martha Stewart, and we'll be using clear and then this pink color, which is called tourmaline. So we're gonna make, I thought a watermelon, and I thought this little beaded texture kind of reminded me of the texture of a watermelon. So okay, we're going to work on this bee cut next, and you'll probably notice that I actually cut out the layers opposite of what the book says. In the book, it has this part is yellow, which it is supposed to be, and then these black pieces layer on top. I did it opposite because anytime I look at a Cricut cut, I look at the opportunities to replace certain sections of it with dimensional embellishments, and that's what adds so much fun to them. So in this particular one, I looked at the stripes, and there's so many things you could do with those stripes. For this, I wanted to do a stitching example, so I cut out two of the base images on vellum so we could have these fluttery wings, and then I did the antenna in yellow and glued it behind, and then I glued the body piece on top, and that's where I did my stitching. And it's not perfect, it's kind of messy looking, but I'm okay with that because I like things with personality, and I like things that aren't exactly perfect. I think I don't know, I just go with it, I guess. So that's what I did on there, but how fun would it be to put stripes of ribbon and then trim off the edges, or even wrap twine around it or wire? You could do a lot of things with those stripes. So when you look at Cricut Cuts, look for those opportunities. Okay, for this next sample, we're going to use some eyelets that I have, these cute star eyelets. What I did was I cut out two of this base shape right here, a blue one and a black one. And then I took some scissors and I trimmed off the handle and this little flat piece right here to use to just add a little more color. All right, and then I'm going to add the eyelets right here to the wheels. The next embellishment idea we have is to add some rhinestones. Again, on this particular cut of the tree, we have these little polka dots. And we're not going to use those, but we're going to use them as a guide. So in all reality, we don't have to put this red layer on. I'm just going to glue it directly to the brown base. Using some Christmas rhinestones from my mind's eye. And I like how these holes are different shapes, so we're going to use those as like I said before, anytime there's a circle element on a Cricut cut, I try to replace it with some sort of embellishment. And that's what we're going to do on this next one. The next thing you can do to embellish your Cricut cuts and add a little oomph to them is to use brads. Okay, the next technique I have for you to do with your Cricut cuts is to add buttons. And again, we're looking for those circular elements, and we're going to replace them with some dimensional elements. I know you're going to get sick of me saying that, right? Look for the circles. Hey, and this is the circle, so that will be easy to remember, right? Okay, we have another card that is a product-based card for embellishing your Cricut cuts, and it's probably something you've never thought to use before, and that is sequins. So I'm going to take some clear glue and we're just going to add several dots to this wheel. Now this is Glossy Accents, which is a clear dimensional embellishment glue, and you could just leave it and he'll look like he has water droplets all over him. But we're going to use it to attach these iridescent gems, or sequins, all over him. Okay, for this card, we are going to be using some wire on this cute little rocket ship shape from the Just Because cartridge. And first I'm just gonna adhere my layers together. Done. We're gonna add some wire. And how I wanted to do some wire on this was just to have a trail of smoke coming out from behind the rocket. Again, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me for this two-part workshop series this last couple of days here on the Cricut Circle blog. I hope you've learned some fun techniques or maybe been reminded of ones that you've loved and tried in the past. I can't wait to see what you create with your Cricut machines. I'm Jana Eubank for the Cricut Circle blog. See you next time.